What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Finance Basement. I hope everyone's doing well. Remember, you can always ask me any questions you want, whether you have me on Instagram, on TikTok, or you have my email. Either way, all that information to contact me is going to be below, and you can ask me any questions and I'll answer them. Without further ado, today, March 31st, on a Tuesday, the interest rate is 3.84%. Now, it's slightly lower than last week. Last week, we had a couple days where we were riding that 4% wave. So interest rates are looking a little bit better. The markets are looking a little bit better too. So hopefully we can ride this positive trend and ride that wave into a whole completely positive market, right? So today, what I want to talk about are common mistakes that I see first-time homebuyers make when they are first getting into the mortgage process. So these are mistakes that I commonly see first-timers struggle with. The first one is looking at properties before talking to any financial advisor, consultant, or the lender. We have our phones and the internet nowadays. Everything's very easy to see. You can go on the internet, you can go on Zillow.com, or you can go on Realtor.com, or you can even download their apps. I think they both have apps. And you can just see a list of properties that are up for sale. And that can be misleading or discouraging when you go to your lender and you don't qualify. Or even worse, you don't qualify at all for any loan because you need to fix your credit or you need to fix some part of your financial picture. So it's always important to go first to your lender or to your financial advisor, whoever you're going to work on the loan with, and get a sense of what you need to do or where you're at with your finances before you start looking at houses. That can lead into a positive process and a very happy closing for everyone, right? Got my little trusty iPad here to go next down on the list. Batching your debts. So what does that mean? So if you're going to go into a mortgage process, you're thinking that this is a big debt and I want to do everything at once. So you're going to buy a car, and you're going to buy a house, you're going to buy furniture, you're going to buy it all at once so that you can pay it off all at once later on down the line. That is a mistake. Because when you go into the mortgage process, your lender looks at all of these debts, and every single debt you have affects your ability to pay back that mortgage loan. So that means, in reality, if with your income you can pay for a certain loan amount comfortably, because you have all these other debts, it's going to decrease that loan amount more and more. So it's going to affect what kind of house you're going to be able to buy, and ultimately you might not even want to go through with the process because you don't qualify for that. So always I recommend, first, if you're going to go buy new things, I always recommend first going to get the mortgage first, going to buy the house first before you do anything else. That way you get that out of the way properly and everyone's happy. And now we're gonna go down the list again. So the third one I want to talk about is not shopping around. So this might sound a little funny, but a lot of home buyers come in to a lender's office and they think, this offer is the only one that I'm gonna get, or maybe this particular loan scenario is the only one that I want to look at, and that's very wrong, because just by going to a different lender, you can get a entirely different agreement or entirely different terms on your loan. So it's very important not to be lazy about it, not to be kind of just stuck in that one tunnel. Just kind of go out and interview a couple of lenders. You can even bring your loan estimate from a different lender and bring it to another lender, see if they can beat it. That is the potential, or that is the advantage that first-time home buyers have, and they really need to take advantage of that. Right. So we're going to go down the list again, and the fourth mistake. So not checking your credit. Now, this is something that I see almost every single first-time home buyer have. No one that I know that's a first-time home buyer that I've worked with has ever checked their credit before coming in. So it's always a surprise for them. And that is a mistake because you need to know what's going on with your credit. Not just your scores, but what's going on with your accounts. If there's disputes on your accounts, maybe you've had identity theft and you don't even know it. So there's a free resource. It's called annualcreditreport.com. It's an official website by Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. And there you can get your credit report, a report of everything that's on your credit history for free once a year. And it doesn't affect your credit score. It's not a hard inquiry and nothing's gonna change, but you are going to know what's on your credit, your balances, old accounts, disputes, old collections, whatever the case is. You can check on the annualcreditreport.com. You can pull that report and you can check that before you go to a lender and not be surprised when they pull your credit. Right, so that's a very important one. The fifth common mistake that I see a lot of home buyers make is moving a lot of money around just before getting into their lender's office or just before getting into the mortgage process. Now, they may do this for a couple of reasons. Maybe you're moving money around because you only want to use one account to pay for the whole mortgage and you only want to submit one bank statement. And that's not a bad idea. But what is a bad idea is moving a bunch of money around to combine it into one account days before you're going to submit your bank statement to the lender. See, if you have a large deposit in that bank account because you're moving a whole bunch of money around, you're going to need to trail that money. You're going to need to source it. And at the end of the day, you're going to have to submit all those bank accounts that were mixed in with that one deposit to the lender anyway. So it's important. If you're going to move money around to put it into one account so that you have just a smooth asset process with the lender, then do that a good amount of time before. Maybe 30, maybe 40 days before you go and submit your documents to the lender. Maybe then start moving around your money to put it into one account. Because if you wait later on down the line, you're going to have a lot more work to do, and the lender is also going to have a lot more work to do. Right, moving down again. So, this one is something that I dealt with a little recently. It's with clients speaking directly to the seller or the realtor or whatever professional is advising the seller. So the issue with this is that if you aren't represented by a realtor, then you can go ahead and talk to the seller and the realtor or whatever. But if you don't consult with someone else and it's your first time buying a house, this is a big mistake because you're at a disadvantage. You don't know the lingo, you don't know what kind of conversations the realtor and the seller are having. So it's not to your benefit to speak to them directly. The mistake that my client made was going behind their realtor's back and negotiating or renegotiating a price because the value of the property wasn't what was originally quoted. So what happens? They renegotiated the price and they ended up having to pay $20,000 out of pocket on top of the loan amount to the seller just to get the house. Now, if you're financing a house, you want to take out as little out of your pocket as possible because that's the point of financing. You want to finance as much as you possibly can. So this was a mistake on my client's part and they ended up having to pay extra money out of pocket. We did end up closing, but it is something that could have been avoided had he just consulted with his realtor. So again, do not go behind any of your professional representation's back, behind your loan officer's back, your realtor's back. Don't do that and go directly to the seller or the seller's realtor. Consult first with your professional advisors. And going down the line, one more time. is going to be opening up a business or becoming self-employed just before applying for a loan. So you might think that just before means maybe a week or two before, but no. Even months before you go into the loan process. Let's say you opened up a business or you became self-employed a few months before and you started making good income, you started making good money, and now you want to buy a house. Well, you're still gonna need to have at least those 2 years of self-employment, right? The issue with 2 years of employment history is not the switch, right? So if you switched from being self-employed or a business owner into a salaried or W-2 employee maybe a week before you applied for the loan, that's not an issue because lenders or the banks see it as stable, right? But if you switch from a salaried income into a new business or into a new self-employed position, then banks do not see it as stable because it's new, it's fresh. You don't know what's going to happen a year down the line or 6 months down the line, etc., etc. So banks want to see that 2 years of self-employment history, no matter what. So it would be a mistake if you are a salaried employee and then you quit your job, or not even quit your job, just transfer into a self-employed realm. Maybe you transfer even into 1099, transfer into earning 1099. That would be a mistake too because technically it would be self-employment. You would have to file for Schedule C. So if you do that, you are immediately not going to qualify for the loan and you're going to have to go through some sort of non-QM subprime mortgage product to end up buying that house. And that puts you, again, at a disadvantage. And the last common mistake, the last and most important common mistake I see first-timers struggle with is education. Please, if you're using this resource, I applaud you because you are educating yourself about the mortgage process and you are going to avoid a lot of hardships that come with the process. Education about the mortgage process isn't taught in really any schooling or any normal schooling at that. So it's important to get your bearings on this. It's a hard process, and if you organize yourself well, you can turn that hard process into something less stressful and more simple for you. That's all I have today for the common mistakes I see first-time homebuyers make. Let me know what you think. Email me, DM me, whatever you have. If you have any questions, again, please ask and I will answer. Love you guys. That's all from the Finance Basement.